Turning now to an outrageous case of hate and prejudice that frankly turns my stomach. Tonight, a primetime Issues exclusive with a transgender female who fears for her safety tonight. 23-year-old Amber Yost needed a new driver's license to reflect her sex change. Little did she know that the DMV employee who, quote-unquote, helped her at the counter would later allegedly send her some very hateful and threatening mail.
What I am doing is evil and that I'm going to burn in hell and that I should die.
4 days after going to the DMV, she got a shocking letter. Here are some of the highlights or lowlights. Quote, Jesus clearly prohibits gender change operations. Her choice to have one was, quote, a very evil decision. This guy also informed her that homosexuality was, quote, an abomination that leads to hell and cries for vengeance. Cries for vengeance, he said. Now, that sounds like a threat to me. I have the letter right here in my hand, and I've read it. Sounds like it's very threatening. And it gets worse. That same day, a DVD arrived from a fundamentalist church warning that homosexuals must be put to death. Here is a clip from the DVD entitled Death and the Journey to Hell. Wow. This sounds like a case of DMV hell. All right? That's what this sounds like. It turns out this DMV employee is a repeat offender. That's right. He targeted another transgender woman just last year and kept his job. We tried to get a statement from him, but he's a hard guy to track down these days. I wonder why he's so quiet now. I'm very happy to welcome Amber Yost and her attorney, Chris Dolan. Amber, you're very courageous to share your story with us, and you, I understand this is breaking news. You've just filed a restraining order against this man. Tell us what went through your mind when you read this hateful and, I would say, threatening letter and why you filed for a restraining order.
Right. Well, I mean, initially reading through it, I was just completely shocked that someone would send me, that hateful of a message and to my house, after all I had done was go to the DMV. And then, as I keep reading it, I was really scared because this guy is telling me that I'm an abomination that's going to go to hell and that I should die.
Yeah, that's the key part here. Cries for vengeance and let them be put to death. Okay? I want to show you another clip from the disturbing DVD that Amber got in the mail. It's called, once again, Death and the Journey to Hell. Listen to this.
Fire of hell is created by God expressly to torment, so that unhappy wretch will be surrounded by fire like wood in a furnace. He will find an abyss of fire below, an abyss above, an abyss on every side. If he touches, sees, breathes, he breathes only fire.
All right, now we asked the head of California's DMV what he thought about his employees sending these nasty messages to Amber, and he told us, quote, this was an individual act by one employee whose actions were outside the course and scope of his duties and are expressly prohibited by department policy. The department regrets that the alleged event occurred and is pursuing any and all appropriate disciplinary action. But guess what? This guy is on paid administrative leave. They are still paying this guy, Chris Dolan, and when I say they are still paying, the taxpayers. This is the DMV we're talking about. That, to me, is really outrageous. Chris?
Well, what else is outrageous is the fact that this employee did this before, and the DMV allowed him to continue. It's just unbelievable that this type of private information could be released into the public. Your prior story shows the danger of people who are disturbed having private information who could then go to Amber's home and hurt her.
And that's why you filed a restraining order, isn't it, Chris?
The restraining order is designed to prevent this individual from coming anywhere near Amber and to prevent him from continuing to send threatening, hateful mail to her that is suggesting that she be put to death. But a restraining order is only a piece of paper. We hope that the police will be there to back it up if necessary.
Now, here's my big issue. Why wasn't this employee fired back in 2009? The DMV admits this guy refused to process a transgender woman's name change application. 2 weeks later, the DMV sent the woman an apology note and promised to use the incident as a learning experience for all employees. They had everybody attend training sessions. Guess what? Not all the employees are bigots. Okay, this brings me to my call to action. When a government agency discovers overt discrimination, the offender should be fired, period. Racism and various forms of prejudice, homophobia, they don't evaporate with a lecture or two and a PowerPoint presentation. And I've got to say that if you think this doesn't concern you, I tell you you're wrong. Because if the DMV can do this to Amber, then what's to stop the next person from coming up and maybe he doesn't like something about me. Maybe he doesn't like my background or your background at home, your race, ethnicity, gender, or maybe he likes you and wants to go to your house and ask you or your child for a date. So I think it affects every human being. This opens a Pandora's box. What do you say to that, Amber?
Yeah, I mean, like, it seems like how could anyone trust a DMV worker who's willing to do that? I mean, willing to take your information that you're submitting as a required, process and do things that he isn't authorized to.
What would you say, Amber, to the DMV tonight? Speak to them.
I mean, really, it's just a matter of, people should be able to trust the government, and government workers have a lot of trust invested in them. If people violate that trust, they shouldn't be working for the government.